The video you are about to watch highlights the importance of reflection and observation in the early childhood setting. It will give you an insight on why, as early childhood practitioners, we need to observe our children. What observation entails in the early childhood setting? When speaking about observation of children, especially in the early childhood environment, basically we are dealing with the actual looking or watching of a child. However, in our field of work, it goes a little beyond just that. As practitioners, we need to incorporate questioning, listening, and very importantly, documentation. We look, analyze what was observed so that we now become aware of each child's need. In observing the child, we must remember that we need to be factual as well as be able to determine which observation method suits us best. Observation is gathering data about children. Therefore, we watch, then listen, record, use visual and audio tools, reflect what was observed, and then interpret so that we would be able to better plan for each child. Why observation is important in the early childhood setting? Observation is important because it meets the holistic needs of every child. That is, it helps the educator to better assess the needs of each child. There are many reasons why we need to observe. Below are a few reasons why. 1. You would be able to know your students better. When you observe thoroughly, you would easily notice the little things that you may not have normally seen. Thus, you can better become familiar with the strong and weak points of their ability to learn. 2. Keeping track of their progress. When you observe, you can keep up on whether the children are progressing while under your care. Their progress should include their holistic needs and should be compared to from time to time. 3. Helps identify specific issues. When you are able to understand each child's progress, you are better able to tackle each issue at hand so that you can decipher a method that can assist the child in that specific domain. 4. Assessment of the child is much more accurate. Observation shows a more precise pattern of each child's developmental progress. You, as the observer, can now have first-hand data so that discussions with other educators and professionals within the field can sit and analyze the best method to help each child in a more creative way.
With observation, two major roles the early years practitioner performs in the early childhood setting include documentation and interpretation. There are several reasons why documentation is important in the early childhood setting. One such reason is accountability. Teachers are accountable for what students do and learn in the learning environment. Since documentation provides evidence of student learning, teachers are able to explain the results of an assessment to students, their parents, or to other teachers. Documentation enhances teaching and learning. It helps teachers to create a good rapport with students and improve the relationship they have with parents. Additionally, documentation can be used to extend learning. Teachers and students have an opportunity to review specific activities or tasks and reflect on their experiences. This allows students to use this as prior knowledge in future lessons, and it helps to maintain their interest. Documentation is also a great way to make learning visible. It gives teachers an insight into children's development and learning. When teachers document the different ways in which students learn, they are more confident about the value of their teaching, as it gives them the opportunity to reflect on the effectiveness of their teaching strategies. Teachers must also be able to interpret what has been documented. After all observations are documented, teachers must then look for patterns in the way students behave and respond. When interpreting observations, the age range of the students involved is an important factor. Therefore, it is essential that teachers have knowledge of child development as well as good observation skills. As teachers reflect on and analyze observations, they are able to identify students' knowledge and skills, set goals, and make adjustments to the curriculum in order to improve quality of teaching and learning.
The video you're about to view depicts lack of proper observation in a classroom. The kindergarten class at Little Bunny Primary School has 10 students, all of whom is age 5 with mixed abilities. One day, the class teacher, Mrs. Lane, entered the class with the students' mathematics textbook and handed them to the students to complete on their own before break, which was 5 minutes away. Mrs. Lane did not give any instruction to the students to complete the work, and they were left unattended. As a result, many disturbances took place. The independent group quickly analyzed what they had to do. While in the guided group, one boy was sitting at the tabletop playing in a girl's hair. One was writing on the chalkboard, another was in the cupboard playing with the books, and the other was in his bag. When the bell rang, Mrs. Lane got upset and started to quarrel with the children because they did not meet her expectations. Two solutions that can be implemented to resolve the issue highlighted in the scenario are: 1. The teacher has to read and explain the instruction to students before allowing them to complete the task or activity independently. Finlay and Faulkner 2010 supported this point by stating that teachers have to provide a rationale for the task at hand. Added to this, McCrudden and Shaw 2010 deemed that teachers have to provide rational cues to students to direct their reading. Also, the teacher has to provide different tasks for the independent and guided workers. Hillier 2011 claimed that when teachers differentiate the instructions for students, it allows them to be engaged, develop self-efficacy, and a passion for learning. Additionally, Tomlinson 2001, as cited by Gentry 2020, claimed that extra tasks should be provided for gifted or independent learners within a mixed ability classroom to ensure that they are always engaged.
There are many different observational procedures which can be used to conduct observation in an early childhood setting. 3 observational techniques or methods used by group members during our practicum experience that assisted with observation of children, classroom environment, parent-family teacher interactions are: 1. Anecdotal records, 2. Checklist, 3. Jotting. The anecdotal records observation conducted on children has provided vital information on natural behaviors and emotions displayed by children. More so, observing the classroom environment shows how children and teachers interact with their peers, materials, and different activities in the classroom environment. Furthermore, this type of observation was also able to share insights on how parents and teachers interact and relate to the early childhood setting on a daily basis. The checklist observational method demonstrates children's skills and behaviors during daily routines and activities. However, when observing the classroom environment, the checklist method provides limited information in the form of an audit. More so, the checklist observational method on parent-family teacher interaction will only provide requested information stored on the checklist. The Jotting method of observation was instrumental while conducting observation on children. This quick note form has contributed to a wider amount of information to be gathered. More so, observation on the classroom environment has provided information on how the classroom environment is situated and used by students and teachers on a daily basis. Furthermore, observing parent-family teacher interactions has related beneficially in many ways. These notes are easily taken and yield huge beneficial information for reflection and assessment.
Observation is the key to understanding how young children learn. It is not only a vital part of assessment, but it also provides opportunities for reflection. As we observe children, we can easily become aware of their strengths and weaknesses. It also gives us a more accurate reading of children's developmental progress. This allows us as teachers to reflect on our teaching strategies and come up with effective ways to assist children in reaching these developmental milestones. In essence, observation can help us to become better teachers. This in turn will enable us to help children to reach their full potential.